Hello, everyone. I would just like to welcome everyone on behalf of Metropole Alliance on e-justice and blockchain, which is also the first webinar organized by the association since its establishment. My name is Y.Georgiades, and I'll be the words about Metropole Alliance. It is an international association of lawyers and professionals with members from across the globe. It has been registered as a non-profitable organization under the laws of Belgium and has been operational since February 2020. The president of the association is Mr. Y.Georgiades, who will also be presenting the topic of e-justice today. And the main objective of the association is to bring professionals together to create business, feed off of each other, and create long-lasting relationships. As you know, our guest this evening is Mr. Alexis Nicolaou, who is the CEO of BlockCo, and currently on the board of directors of Grant Thornton in Cyprus. He has over 25 years experience in accountancy, finance, electronic banking, and electronic banking software. His specialization is specifically in digital currencies and blockchain technology. Mr. Nicolaou will provide you with all you need to know about blockchain in his presentation shortly after Mr. Georgiades'. But first, we will welcome Mr. Yiannos Georgiades, the president of Metropole Alliance and managing partner of Georgiades & Associates, a law firm in Nicosia, Cyprus, who will give a presentation on e-justice and the importance of incorporating technology in legal practice and judicial procedures. Throughout both presentations, please feel free to send any questions you may have through the chat feature, and we will address your questions in the third part of the webinar. Please welcome Mr. Georgiades on e-justice.
Dear friends and colleagues, thank you so much for joining this webinar. I hope that soon we'll be in a position to have a physical meeting in Cyprus or any other country, so we have the opportunity to see each other again and have apart from working together, to also have a drink and enjoy together good moments like we used to do before. It's true that pandemic has had a very negative impact on all of us, on the economy and on a lot of people's life. But at least it forced us to use technology in a much better way than we were using it before. Today I will present you an outline, rather, my thoughts about the e-justice and the necessity of blockchain. We all know that justice generally is a very important element for every nation. It is helping a lot to establish democracy, and of course it is something that it helps generally the economy of the countries. When we have a transparent and user-friendly and efficient rule of law, this boosts the economy, and of course it attracts foreign investments, improves the workflow of the judicial system. I mean, we know that our judicial system is already overloaded in most of the countries, and for years we're struggling to deal with this matter. Of course, what we are trying to do now is to use the existing technology and transform justice to the so-called e-justice. It is an opportunity now because we already, I mean, technology is already part of our life, and we use it already, and we understand its usefulness. However, it's not packaged and is not used globally so well, and it hasn't been introduced, of course, in the justice system, at least in most of the countries. Basically, in simple words, justice is using the technology and introducing the technology, rather, in the justice system in order to improve it and make it more efficient. This has been acknowledged a decade ago by the European Union. That's why they started working on it, and they started thinking of ideas how to develop it and transfer this to all the European countries. And they made, since 2019, they made two papers, the so-called EU strategy and EU action plan, where they're covering different subjects, and they're aiming to improve different aspects of e-justice. Or familiar, at least the lawyers, with the e-justice portal and the EUR lex. These are something that they have developed already by the European Union, and you can visit and see them, and they're very useful, and they're still developing. But at the same time, they are concentrating on other aspects of e-justice, such as artificial intelligence, and they're trying to develop a tool which would be analyzing the court decisions. This kind of tools, I think they might have been in the market, but what the European Union is trying is to actually organize this and trying to encourage all the European countries to introduce it and use it. Of course, electronic payments of court fees is another area, video conferencing, which we have seen now, at least not in an organized way, but in a forced way. We all started using video conferencing more often, like we do now with this webinar, but also there are countries already that they use video conferencing for trials. And also then trying to encourage this in the online, the so-called online dispute resolution, like in arbitration or mediation. In those papers that the European Union have prepared, and they are renewed and extended, and now the last one, the recent one, is until 2023. Their main objectives is this you see now on your screen, is trying to promote to all the countries the use of e-justice, to introduce e-justice and to educate people. And their objective is to make a judicial system, as we said earlier, more effective. In doing so, they also introduce a structural reform support service, so-called SRSS, which helps countries to adapt themselves to the e-justice and introduce e-justice according to the guidance of the European Union, and also through funding. They're also monitoring the development of the countries, and this is the most recent, the so-called EU Justice Scoreboard. I just got this to show you that it was done, though the last one was done, the monitoring in 2018, and it shows the development of countries according to how to submit a case, is a green line, how to transmit summons, and also to monitor stages of proceeding. So according to, they monitor it according to these three elements. And then you can see that a lot of countries are very well advanced. And Cyprus, it seems like, and Luxembourg, it seems like they're at the bottom. But it shows that it's an organized kind of procedure of slowly encourage all member states to introduce fully fledged e-justice. I would say it's an ideal time now, and it's much easier than it probably used to be 10 years ago to introduce e-justice, because, I mean, in the legal practice, at least, we know that although lawyers they say they're very slow in developing in technology, which I think might be true, still today we at least know, all of us know what is the cloud. We know how to do legal research, e-filing. We know about the e-signatures, verification systems, video conferencing. We know about the email encryption. And of course, we're getting aware of other technologies like smart contracts. So we are actually not so ignorant, and we are more adapted to this. So I will say that it's maybe a good time for moving towards introducing e-justice. One of the countries, okay, and of course I will say that in the private sector and the professional lawyers, they are aware of technology and they're using it. But the other thing is in the public sector, that people should be adapted and be comfortable in using this. Estonia is one of the countries that is considered to be as one of the best examples for introducing e-justice. They chose a technology which is called KSI blockchain, which is used also by NATO and the US Department of Defense. And then they basically use this in all areas, not just in justice system. They use this toward the different healthcare, property, business, succession registry, and of course for the digital court system. And they, at the same time, they have developed the e-filing, which was started by the government in 2005, a long time ago. And they also developed their court information system, which was launched in 2006. And they have a fully digital court information system and information encryption. You can see on the diagram how it works. They have a general system, which is a filing system, where it's everybody can file through that center point their whatever they want to file. And then, depending on the subject, it goes to the relevant department after that. So it's a centralized point. Other countries, you can see on your screen, they introduce kind of e-justice. Is Italy with the so-called toll. Then is England and Wales for the electronic filing. And then is for the EU is the e-codex, which is useful for exchanging of judicial data, and etc. Other countries that they have also been quite advanced, believe it or not, is China. China created the so-called smart courts and internet courts. They use technology to create the so-called e-justice by also using blockchain. And the reason they use blockchain is, I think, in my opinion, it's necessary to use blockchain because it provides more security, prevents fraud, and it's actually something that it can prevent people from tampering the system. And that's why they did that, in my opinion. And it's something that we should all think about. Once we introduce e-justice, we should also think about that. So China has introduced this. They have they also think that this is the internet court. It's a way, it's like an incubator, which can basically use it as an example and create e-justice physically in physical courts also. Other countries is the United States, of course. The United States, I remember, of course, United States in 2000, when I was attending an information technology conference organized by the IBA in Chicago, they were already well ahead in a lot of things from that time, the US. Of course, now, I wouldn't say that the comparison to the rest of the world, they are so ahead in the justice system, although they are in a good state. So yes, US is known for being good in the electronic filing and the e-discovery. Now, in Cyprus, like in Estonia, of course, we have introduced the technology in the different areas, like a companies registrar, the land registry, social insurance, and tax department, by using the Ariadne government gateway portal. This is actually being used for some time now successfully. Also, we have, the only thing we are lacking, of course, is to introduce the e-justice we have a very good database by using the silo. But as far as EJUSTICE is concerned, we are also one of the countries that have been encouraged, and we get support by SRSS. And we had some developments recently where we introduced the Deputy Ministry for Research, Innovation and Digital Policy, which is headed by Mr. Kyriakos Kokkinos, who is very good and very dynamic, I would say, in introducing technology. And he contributed a lot in creating the EJUSTICE platform in Cyprus. And it was ready to be used on a temporary basis. And it actually started as a pilot. And we had also our office the experience of trying it. And we went through a training for that, like other lawyers. And it was supposed to start in 8th of February, probably. But because of some fears, I would say, and worrying about the public officers not being ready. Some others were saying maybe the lawyers need more education, and all these discussions. Unfortunately, they have paused even the interim kind of introduction of the EJUSTICE system. And the Supreme Court of Cyprus has announced just briefly that they will be considering ways of introducing it soon. And they left it, we don't have any follow-up until now. So it's there, and we would like to congratulate also the people that they were leading this initiative. But it remains to actually introduce it, to start to put it in the court. So it seems like sometimes EJUSTICE technology might be on your favor, you can do it, but then there's a human element again, that they need to be used to use it. I hope we overcome this soon. Now, it's one thing to introduce, as I said earlier, the EJUSTICE, but it's another thing to avoid any bugs, any insecurity problems, any hackers, any of all these things that we are all scared, and it's part of internet, cybercrime. So we all know about these things, but that's why when it comes to blockchain technology, in my opinion, blockchain technology, I will not really pretend that I am expert in and know all the technical aspects of blockchain, but believe me, somebody advised me that it's not even necessary to know all the technical aspects. Of course, Alexis Nicolaou, who will speak to you later, he is more technical and he will probably explain to you more things. But people told me that it's like the internet. We don't know exactly how it works, but we use it and it's useful. It's like the electricity. We don't see how it works, but we get the benefit of it. So blockchain, I think it has a very simple definition on the screen there, which describes you more or less what it is. But for me, what is important is that is secure because it's decentralized. It's like a ledger where we put a lot of records there, and they are not controlled by a specific institution. There is a variation of this. This is a public, of course, chain, but there is also the judicial alliance chain that, like they did in China, where it's different institutions together, which is again more or less decentralized, but it has an element of control. But you can see there that okay, it's resilient-wise because of its technology, and then it doesn't allow changes. It's not easy for anybody to amend anything. So it provides security, authenticity, transparency, efficiency. The unchangeable transactions make it very, very good for introducing the EJUSTICE. And also it prevents fraud, like we get nowadays through the internet. I don't say, of course, it's perfect. I'm sure there must be ways that somebody could argue that it has also some weaknesses, but overall is considered to be an ideal platform to use when we introduce technology in all levels, and especially in justice. Blockchain, I think, is something that I will not spend a lot of time on blockchain, because I will allow Alexis to speak about blockchain. But it's important for us lawyers to know that although through blockchain and the creation of smart contracts, which is basically transferring normal contracts to some smart contracts, we might think that we lose work, but at the same time, because blockchain is a technology that is coming, we should all get adapted to blockchain, because it will also give a lot of work to those who are specialized and then are aware and understand at least how it works in the legal practice. And smart contracts might reduce also the litigation and disputes, but at the same time, it could give rise to the need of lawyers advising people and also lawyers who are necessary to be there in order to create the smart contracts. Smart contracts, they will be used together with artificial intelligence, and they will be able to automatically allow people to work together and make contracts. And they could also give remedies that we don't have today. For example, if you have a tenancy agreement and you have a smart contract, and by using artificial intelligence and technology, then automatically, if you don't pay the rent on time, then the door of your apartment, if you're a landlord, can be locked automatically. Or if you have a hire purchase car, for example, and is not paid in time, again, there would be a mechanism where your car engine will be stopped or the doors will be locked, for example. This is just examples I have read going through, and for me also to understand the usefulness of smart contracts and how they will work. And of course, as lawyers, for our lawyers, blockchain is also a way of authenticate electronic evidence or any other evidence that it can be uploaded on the blockchain. So it's something that we should all, I will advise that all of us should be working well in and educating themselves of blockchain. I don't want to take more of your time. We could say a lot of things. We have more time to listen now to Alexis Nicolaou and maybe some questions after Alexis. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much.